Or have you taken the course?
Yeah, I took it in beginning of August, I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah, August
Great,
20th,
welcome.
yeah, good to have you with us.
So, Kurt Weaver, referee.
Rick Oliver, referee.
Mark Hoskin, referee.
Rick Nash, referee.
Bob Osvansky,
And
referee.
coach.
Educator.
Mark Nelson, outgoing vice chair.
The rugby department.
Referee manager for USA Rugby.
I see you've been hanging around Boulder too long. You're driving a Pirates?
Favorite Prius in September, Bob.
Mike Hacker, referee.
And Mike, you took the course in August. Welcome.
I'm AJ Smith, I'm a new ref too.
Okay.
August as well.
Okay, good. Well, welcome everyone. Nice to meet you, new reps.
How are you?
We're absolutely
I didn't
thrilled
recognize you.
that you can join us.
It's been 4 years.
Typically we start off with reports from the executive committee. Ray, do you want to start us off with the scheduling report?
So I need availabilities filled out by more people. That's kind of where we're hurting. So the last 3 weeks, we've had everyone who's available assigned, many people double duty. And there's enough of us that no one should be doing double duties. So please, availabilities. So 10th is already up, 17th should be up on August.
For any of the newer referees, if you don't know how to get on availability, get with Ray, and he'll take you through that, so we can get you out there, get you started. Okay, one of the things that the executive committee asked for me to talk about, because I'm the new guy and they figured you would be less likely to help me, is we had a problem earlier this year where we had a referee that didn't show up for an assignment. So the good news is it doesn't happen very often. In fact, it's very rare that that happens. But when it does happen, it creates all kinds of problems for the society and for the officers in the society. We now have to report what happened and find out what happened. And oftentimes we owe credits back and we owe penalties to the organizer of the home team when that happens. So just remind everyone, we've got mechanisms in place to make sure you get notified. So you know well in advance that the match is on and when you need to be there and where it's at. We also ask if you have a conflict that you let Ray or his counterpart know that you do have a conflict. We know they come up. We've got some bench strength if we know. We can call on people, we can do double duty, whatever it takes to get it covered, we can cover it. So but you have to let us know that you had a conflict come up and that you're unable to meet that appointment so we can take action and avoid the embarrassment and a little bit of the, a little bit of the bad name we get when that happens, guys. So if we can get your help with that, we would appreciate it.
If Colorado Springs is harassing about my not showing up, that's their problem. Because I emailed Wendy, or not Wendy, Amy on Saturday afternoon and said, hey, when is it tomorrow? I emailed Ray, emailed Wendy, didn't get a response back, and then I'll get a phone call saying, where are you? Not your problem. I got a response back, like I think probably an hour before the game's my guess.
No.
So.
If you are not getting notified 72 hours in advance, so Wednesday night for Saturday games, Thursday for Sunday games, and most people on a Sunday get hold of you by Wednesday anyway, you need to let Ray and Stu know. Please do not reach out directly to the team asking, because that then instills in them a habit of being lazy and not doing the stuff they're supposed to do. Take it to Ray, take it to Stu. It does. And that way, if they continually do it, we're not covered. Or we're having to double people up, triple people up. We had to go and find people that weren't CIPP registered to be able to drop their game because we didn't have coverage. This is one more reason for them not to get a referee. They need to do their part. Kurt, I know that you're going crazy, like, just reach out and get it done.
We're a service organization with customers, and we want to be nice to our customers. Showing up as a dick that you already got angry with them during the week on the weekend is also not a fun way to do it. So.
Ray and Stu reach out and say, guys, just a reminder, you need to make sure that you notify 72 hours in advance. Otherwise, it turns into the chaos that we had before you were here, Kurt.
Usually it's the men's adults who have lately been bad, and Eric's been great helping us out by putting some fire on them that's not directly coming from us. But if it's getting more widespread, then we might, get the college team from Tez or someone.
Yeah.
One other reminder, if you are and Rick's been really good with that the last 2 weeks. If you are the head referee or the high game referee, and you have ARs and a coach, be sure that you communicate to your ARs and coach the details of the match. Okay, so that's kind of your responsibility for getting help at that match to make sure everyone gets there. So we appreciate that as well. Gillian, now that you got them warmed up. What do I have?
Did you just report RDO?
Oh, RDO stuff. Got a bunch of new coaches up in Aspen, which is nice. So hopefully we gain a lot more folks, more coaching. One interesting trend, things to think about. And since the beginning of this season, so end of August to now, there have been 32 yellow and red cards across all the games. The split on that has been 25 red cards, or 25 yellow cards and 1 red for foul play. And then 7 of them have been for repeat infringements. If we take a look at last season, you could almost see the exact opposite, where we were seeing just yellow card after yellow card after yellow card for repeat infringement. It seems that everybody took that the other conversation last season to heart, and we're getting the repeat infringement out of the game, whether that's through management, obliviousness, whatever it may be. We're not giving as many cards for the repeat infringement. I'm going to go with better management, management. So that's great work getting the players to comply. One of the interesting things, though, is of the 25 for foul play, probably 12, 13 of them have been for high tackles. And a lot of only a couple of those have been like repeated high tackle. Most of it's been one-off stuff where you're like, what are you people doing? And then, but the other thing is 12 of them have been for punching because of side entry or punching for this or punching for that, where it's all frustration based. So that's one where if you're getting people punching in a match, something to think about for when you're out there. If people are punching in your match, why? What aren't you calling or what aren't you communicating that's leading to that level of frustration on the other team? Obviously, you're going to have idiots. I had a person who was not playing to the standard of the game kick somebody square in the back straight to a red card. I do not think I could have prevented that. He walked on the field, been on for 2 minutes, and kicked somebody in the back. Great 2 minutes exercise, buddy. Those aren't the ones we're talking about, but the ones where you see repeated infringement, I've been penalizing these guys, I was going to penalize and yellow carded this guy for coming in the side the 5th time. Why weren't you able to get rid of that earlier? That's the thought process. Take that, chew on it. I don't have answers for you. Just things to think about. That's it.
Anybody got anything for Gilligan? Okay, new administrative positions, I've already mentioned that I was asked by Tom and Mark to fill in for the remaining term of Mark's term as vice chair, or his appointment as vice chair, I guess. So we kind of started that transition last month. So as Mark has moved on to bigger and better things, that the society needed some more help on the administrative side of the business, and so I'll be stepping in for Mark. So now he ain't going anywhere, so in spite of what he thinks. So he's still available to us, and we certainly want to use his skills within the society to help us get better. And I'm certainly going to lean on him on the many things he did in this role over the last couple of years. But I want to thank Mark for all his help and assistance to society in that role. So I'm going to give Mark a So the other thing with, and Aspen always seems to bring this out, is the administrative requirements associated with the referees, associated with tournaments and exchanges. Most of our exchanges are actually done in and around tournaments, so they kind of go one and the same. So the executive met and decided that we needed another position within the organization. It's not a executive committee, but that we needed someone that could spend some time and dedicate resources to managing the referee portion of the tournaments we support, and the exchanges that are associated with that. So John Kinney has volunteered to fill that position. So one of the things I want to just mention on exchanges real quick. So we had Nigel in for the Aspen exchange here last month. We had a little trouble getting hosts for him. So people that were going over England weren't available for a number of different reasons. I hosted Nigel, and I was reluctant to do so because I live way out west. There's nothing around Golden for him to do, and I was in the midst of a large business transaction, so timing wasn't right for me to do it. I hosted him for 5 days. It was some of the most enjoyable 5 days I've had. I really had a good time hosting. My family enjoyed having him as part of our family. The time he spent talking to my kids was invaluable, just sharing his experiences. So I would encourage you, I was wrong in not raising my hand earlier. So if you do get an opportunity to host someone, I ask you, please consider doing that. It was quite an honor. And now I've got a standing invitation anytime I want to go to wherever the hell he lives. I pretended like I knew where it was. But anyway, so if you do get an opportunity to host an exchange referee, please consider doing it. It's quite an honor, and I regret that I didn't do it before. So. Mark, Kit, Derek's not here. You want to talk about Kit?
So let me just go over a couple things real quick on the screen that the camera can't see, but you all can. Is kind of a Google Doc spreadsheet we wanted to create. We are kind of failing at. It's our club contacts. So when you do get contacted by someone for your match, please just go to our Google Doc and put that guy's information in there, and it helps us the next week so that when Kurt has a game and is supposed to referee CU and he's not contacted, he knows who to reach out to. On that document, there's all kinds of very useful tabs. Availability, the most important one, contact list second, recruitment, which we will get to later. Helpful links for new referees who might not know where some other things are, like USA Rugby or Rugby Colorado. Fitness scores. That's just kind of a spreadsheet. We came and took the fitness test. Thanks to the 5 people that showed up tonight. Gilligan will get in here and update the RDO assignment coaches soon. Here's our kit reimbursement plan. So for those of you who are new, you can take a look at that and see. Basically, your 5th game, you'll get about $165 for the credit at our store. Get yourself some kit. And then our tracksuit sizing. So go in here. We are going to change brands to World Rugby Shop from Rugby Athletic, and because our tracksuits more affordable. This isn't so much a tracksuit in the past like those are. It's more of a travel suit. So it's kind of like it's like a lot more comfortable. Not so waterproof, but just like a more casual wear, because it doesn't hardly rain here with us, and when it snows you don't wear it anyway. So it's a really nice setup we have here. So everyone go in here and put your sizes in, and when we get the right number, we'll get an order in, and then you guys can all go buy it. I think they're like $60 and $55 for the jacket at the top. Again, another beneficial tool right here is a solo shop. I've had some success with it. No one else really has. You all need to program technology better. But I'll be using this with Jenny on Wednesday. It's basically to videotape your game and keep you in frame without having someone do it like I'm doing with that camera. So this is available for any match. You just gotta come get it. We're gonna do it. Take yourself, throw it up online. If you even give it to me or someone, we can maybe put some notes on the video and you can use it as a coaching tool.
So you have it?
It's right here.
No, I mean, you have it like in your house or something like that?
It'll be between my house or in the national office or at
Mark's house.
or at Steve Gore's house, which is in central Denver.
Just want to know who
We just got to figure out someone who lives in Central Denver who wants to keep up with it. I'm sick of having everything at my house. My wife is sick of everything in the house. For those of you guys who don't know, this is on the bottom of our email chain. And if you haven't been getting our email chain, we'll add you to the Google group tonight. New guys. So that's with Kit. And then I think Jersey's soon.
Mark, that page with all the links is not on the website?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Because I was trying to find the availability thing the other day and I couldn't. So finally I just went to an email Mark had sent out.
I don't think there's a link to the availability on the website. But any email that comes through the Google groups has it on the bottom.
So the what?
Through the Google groups.
Oh.
So whenever we send an email.
We don't want it on the
Because
website,
everyone's got access to this, right?
and some.
Then they'll say, this guy was available, why didn't you send him to our match?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more
Because you're
changing stuff, which is
We don't want
worse.
him, so
Yeah.
make sure he's not.
It'd be nice if there was a secret link on there somewhere that
Rick, you're on there.
says like, click here to donate $1,000 to the referees.
Rick, you're on
And
there.
Instead the password is Kurt Weaver's hair.
Wonderful thing right here.
Click on Bandit.
This is a bookmark tab. It's a very helpful thing. You just write down, click, I want to bookmark this page. And it is forever imprinted up here. As you see, I have lots of bookmark tabs. Very easy to do. We can help you out with that.
I thought you were the rep manager, not the other.
Oh, Mark, we're changing some flyers. Is it just on the sweatsuits?
No, it'll be for everything.
Everything, okay.
I think we're
For
gonna-
now, we're ordering inventory out of the old.
Yeah, so we still have a good amount of stuff at RA, and during this transition, like logistically, it will be like we won't have to buy a bunch of stuff and then have them hold it and then get money back. Like World Rugby Shop is a lot more easier to work with on that thing. So I think we will probably have a buyout here. I think we still have a Canterbury tracksuit on site. It's like an extra large. I've been begging people to buy it. Gary Hartzell. So yeah, but Derek knows more about that because I've completely washed my hands with it.
Gilligan? I think you and Mark and Romney's not here. Oh, before we leave kit, for the new referees, I have a limited amount of kit of our old kit, our old kit. So green and yellow jerseys and so forth. So if you, let's get together afterwards, it's down in my car. So if you're looking for some kit, we can get you started. I know we started, we might have already started already. So please see me afterwards. That's just see what we got. Okay. So Mark Gilligan, we were going to have a discussion about new referee retention and assisting referees moving into the area.
Why don't you talk about the people moving in? Since you know who they are, other than.
Well, yeah, we have Jenny Lou, who moved to Chicago. She moved here from Chicago. She's only going to stay 6 months, so we all have to make it our number one priority to keep her here and sell the Colorado on her. So let's be supportive of her and help her out. There is another national panel that is looking to move here. Leah is looking to move here in January. So it'll help strengthen our referee society. I think we're also trying to negotiate Lee Bryant to move here in February. And she's well on her way to becoming a national referee. And then there's a rumor that Brett Johnson from Boise, Idaho wants to move here as well. So the question for you guys is we have a lot of people moving here. Does any of us have any hookups with potential jobs or housing or stuff that we could probably help out these people while they're in transition? It's one thing clubs do really well and referee societies do very poorly, is helping each other out when it comes to this kind of thing. So if you guys do have a house for rent or somewhere, yeah, Steve Clark, someone who could hook up someone with a job, know someone at REI or whatever, and get them a job temporarily. That'd be great.
Do we have any links to employment agencies? That's their job.
We used to have a guy named Lon, but he's no longer with us. He was like a temporary guy, and then who else did that? Someone else did that here.
No, what I'm suggesting is, I'm sure if you look at what used to be called the Yellow Pages, there's employment agencies. And if we could, somebody could find one, why are you laughing?
Jim, we now have the Google.
There still are people who apply to it, that depends on them finding other people jobs.
So again, like any contact you have, I get him a job at a bank. Yeah, I know, I understand, like a recruiting officer. I think Ryan Haggerty is a recruiting officer, but he's only for like government.
He does IT.
He's like IT, government, super secret agent stuff. So, yeah, we're a big place, beautiful place, lots of good rugby, good support society, people moving here. So, things are happening. People are retiring off the panel, adding new ones. Gotta keep our 5.
See how that? Retention stuff. Good conversation with one of our senior referees, and sparked good talk from Tom and I. Tom's over in England right now. One of the things that was really highlighted is starting to create development paths. As people come into the game, come into refereeing, if you're 18, you run a 4.340 and you've got a brilliant rugby mind, we're probably going to fast track you for the national panel and international work as possible. But that's not most people that are coming into refereeing. Most people that are coming in are after they're playing, they're in their 30s, sometimes they're in their 40s. Sometimes they aren't going to look the way that the IRB or World Rugby wants you to look because they don't believe in front rows, they believe in sevens players. But those are the kind of things where we want to be able to start creating a path so that here's the idea, here's something that you can kind of use as a template to start developing your own refereeing. Chris sent me, I sent him like 5 questions. He sent me back like 30, so I'm never going to make that mistake again. But it was really good stuff about how do we start putting that together. So what I'm going to do is throw out to you guys, if you've got thoughts as you started refereeing, what do you wish you had known? What kind of questions maybe do you still have that I just don't think about because I've been part of the referee society for 21 years? There's just institutional stuff that I just don't even begin to think that people are going to be asking questions. So for AJ, for Austin in particular, if you want to send it over to me, my email is all over that, or just data.hatrop@gmail. RDO, Rocky Mountain Rugby Referees, both of them work. But if you can send me an email, you've let me know what kind of questions do you have, what do you wish you would know when you got started refereeing, anything like that. Hopefully that'll help give people that idea. I can start working off that for a template to build that out, send it out to different people for ideas. If you get a random email from you saying, hey, what do you think of this as a list, please take the time, read it, respond. That'll help bring other folks in. The other thing about that, if you're a senior ref, you have one of the new guys, any of them on your side, take the time to talk with them, ask them what questions they have about their game. If you're one of the new guys, take the time to ask the referee, why did you do this there and whatever. So that way you guys can keep learning the game, stay engaged in it. Any questions? Thanks.
Any other thoughts, guys? Retention? One of the things when I started, especially with the new guys, I didn't know who to go to even ask questions. So now we have this website, we've got people on it, so feel free, if you don't know, just feel free to ask. Just ask us. So sometimes we don't give you all the information that you may need.
You'll get 20 different answers.
Probably, but somewhere in there is the right one for you. Sometimes it's easy as Jenny didn't know which building we were in, so she texted me. It's no big deal. So, but we don't think of that because we come to the same building every month at the same time. So, okay.
Just a quick comment, Mark. I got to work with Austin and AJ this weekend for about 4 hours, and just like I say, we're 2 outstanding very, very open. You know, a zillion questions, particularly from AJ. Great attitudes. I mean, everybody liked him. I got tons of good comments back from the coaches. And whoever brought them on, I'd like to say thanks. They're going to be great, two great new members of society.
Let's get it done. Let's do it.
So we're gonna have better luck with this one from Oklahoma than we did our last one?
That guy was worthless.
Too bad he's not here.
That guy's
Are you
worthless.
looking at Mark's basement? We're already doing better.
Thanks. So Rick, you were on, buddy. Rick had the opportunity to go to the high performance clinic camp in Chicago. And as we typically do when we send people off to a clinic or camp, we then have them come back and share with us their newfound knowledge. So Rick assures me this will be a short presentation.
Yes.
Because he knew it all going in. So,
That's true.
so
That's the fun
the final frontier.
Yeah, I got to go to Chicago. Steve Gordon, I went to Chicago. Chris went to Sacramento, right? Yeah. I highly encourage you if you get a chance to go to one of these camps. I was a little iffy going in, but it was a good experience. Prepared for PowerPoint videos, bad jokes. Don't tell Richard Every that you can't understand him in the first 5 minutes. It wasn't me. So this is actually a presentation, I think, Mark, you gave this in Chicago too, right? Mm-hmm. This is about space, our friend space. Yeah? We talked about it, but here we go. Basically, alright, so what does space mean for teams? Allows them to implement better strategies and tactics, allows players to shine, better and more accurate decision making. It's basically, summing up, it just makes for better rugby, right? Gives everybody a little bit of space to do what they're going to do, everybody's just beating on each other for no reason. It's all great. So what's it mean for referees? Easier to referee. More time and space for the referee. Better and more accurate decision making. Clearer pictures. Sum it up, makes your life way easier. Just way easier. Everything slows down. Nobody's getting all mad at each other for being offsides. Just back them up. Everything's great.
So time and space here is stricter enforcement on offside?
What was that?
Is that, I mean, what is time and space?
Questions are afterwards, right?
You can only focus on one thing.
You just memorize the PowerPoint.
Pretty much.
I don't have answers.
No, it's basically, I mean, you have your space, and the time is giving you the time to do what you need to do, and for them to do what they need to do too. Because I mean, again, when you lose that space, that's when you get bodies on the ground and people getting angry and coming from sides and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing. Mark said this early in my career, and it's so true. If you get that space, I mean, your life is so much better. Everything just goes the way it's supposed to go. Everybody's doing generally what they're supposed to do until they kick someone in the back.
Oh, he had plenty of space. He had to wind up to get him.
Can't fix stupid.
They're trying to do it as well.
Can't fix stupid. So, what are our chances as referees to create space? Lineouts, right? Make sure that back line defense is back 10 on both sides, but the defense is the one that's always going to be up on you. Just take a quick look. You know, it's our moment. It's a line out. You got time to breathe. You got time to think. Get there early. Turn around and just start talking to the fly half because you know he's not 10. Just, you know, early on, like the high school games, sometimes I'll even tell the fly half, hey, I'm going to set you early in the game, and then it's on you. You know, like I'm not going to do this all day. So generally they get the idea. 5 and 10, keep them inside the 5 and the 15, right? We kind of miss this one sometimes as you do. In fact, there's some videos later. There's a video of a ref, a high-level ref, missing a guy like standing right behind him before the lineout's over. You know, he came from 10 back. There's another one guy who leaves the 15, no problem. But that's a good chance. Just to, I mean, it's slow. You got a moment to think. Just back everybody up. make sure everything looks right. Let's go, because you can always hold the ball, right? Scrums. Scrum halves, back row, 5. Where can the scrum half be? Because I've had, lately, number 9s think they were smart. And I've seen some other games where they let them do things they're not supposed to do. So where can the 9 be at the beginning of the scrum? The defensive 9.
He's gotta be right next to him at the beginning.
It's one place he can be.
Or he's gotta be 5 meters back.
Correct. That's the 2 places a scrum half can be. They cannot be on the other side. They can't be wandering off wherever it is they wander off to sometimes. They have there or there. It's just that simple. You know? I swore he'd be on the other side. I'm like, you really can't. So. Incidentally, once the ball's been put in, then where can that be? The defensive scrum half.
Last foot. He can be the last foot, or he can be right in front of the ball.
They have 2 offsides lines, let's say it that way. What are their offsides lines at that point?
Last foot of the scrum.
Their scrum, so typically they're 8. They can actually move the whole field on that line though. That's the one that'll drive coaches crazy.
And on his side of the ball, if he's following the scrum half.
Both feet on their side of the ball.
Yeah.
Both feet. There's nothing that says you can't be in the pocket, it's just a horrible idea. So generally I tell guys to
Get him out. One player on the side of the ball.
Yeah, so for you new guys, like, there's nothing that says, I mean, they'll ask you this too every once in a while, like every 4th game or something, the 9 will be like, can I be in the pocket? Just say no.
Do you mind when the flanker punches you?
The longer answer is nothing good's going to happen if you go in there. I'm looking at you. If that thing goes down, if you get tangled up with anybody, it's on you. You know, so just stay out of there. At the higher levels, the flankers will take care of it anyway. So.
But the adjustment, if there is a pocket, is that the flanker's angle is not what it's supposed to be, right? So the adjustment is actually to the flanker, not to the 9, for the most part.
That's a great point, too.
Right. It's a safety angle.
Does everybody understand that? Actually, sorry, I didn't.
Well, as long as the flanker starts out at an angle, he's okay, but he can't adjust, he can't swing it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Once he sets his position, he's set there.
So
And he can't lift his leg to a...
We're off track a little bit, but yeah, that's just don't go in there now. It's a bad idea. So again, back row, back 5. Again, it's great when we have ARs. That's what they're great for. But a lot of times we're out there on our own. Just take a quick. It's a scrum. You got a moment to think, breathe. Just take a quick look before you start your cadence. Like, why is this guy standing next to the 8? You know, like, because it happens. Just it's so eager. Back him up 7.5, and it'll be about 5 when it actually comes out. Quick taps, 10 meters. There's a couple ways to handle this, but that's another moment where we can get flash points really quick. People go a little too crazy over this one, I think, but you know, just make sure they're back 10. And if they're not, either catch them, or another great thing to do is management-wise, if you're in a moment of the game, just bring them back. Like if there's anything wrong with the tap at all, like he's a little further away, you don't think he left his hand or something, like just bring it back, or I didn't set the mark yet. Just, if it's a flashpoint moment, like you feel the game's getting amped up, it's a good time to just kind of reset a little bit. It's an easy way to like slow everybody down. Don't let them just take off and go that 3 meters and push some guy, and oh, that's not 10, you know. Just whistle, no, I didn't set the mark yet, you know, a little more, you know, you were too far away, or I couldn't see you were behind me. Just, it's a great time to calm everybody down, get that space again, and now we go play rugby instead of everybody, you know, run around, as you know they will. Make sense?
But you wouldn't want to provide too much of an advantage to the team that's not retreating.
No, I mean, obviously they have the right to go quick. If it's done cleanly and correctly, by all means have at it. But it is a moment where you can maybe, it's a chance to rein things in if you need that. Does that make sense? And if all possible, back them up 10. You know, get that space where it will create problems. Breakdown offside line, that's last foot. How many times we say in the game, you know, back up, take a step, you know. There's some video of this too. It's easier said than done some days, you know, they just can't help themselves. But it really, again, this is the magic Mark pointed out earlier. If you can get them that step back, like, I mean, literally on the back foot, everything kind of just calms down and makes sense, yeah? And then, anybody know what I have? Okay, you should. You've been on these camps, haven't
She has
you? Kick. There you go. So, in front of kick, it's another one that, I don't know if it's necessarily a flashpoint, but it should be pretty easy to catch. I mean, it's pretty easy. As soon as you see a kick, quick scan, you should be telling people, I mean, ideally you can get them to stop and come back before you penalize it. Again, you can't fix stupid. I was right next to a guy, actually touched him on the shoulder and he just kept going. Alright. You know, I mean, I was yelling his number and I finally like tapped him on the shoulders, we're running. I was like, never mind. Penalty. I mean, you can't fix it, alright? Oh, sorry, on here. How do you go back?
Back arrow.
Of course, back. Try to set these up before they play. So this one, White's throwing the ball in, and we should be watching for White's going to bring it down into a maul situation, and watch the blue back. It kind of comes in a little early. So lineout's not over yet. Who's this guy?
That guy.
So in his defense, he has ARs that should have called that in. I mean, he's used to we don't play it again, but his back was totally that guy, you know. But as we're out there on the island by ourselves, that's why you don't just face right at the mall. You know, open up, and then it's pretty obvious that, like, why is this guy right here? Sure.
The line wasn't even over, so you couldn't even come up that close.
So, lineout's not over.
So you can be back 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheated. Again, I think maybe the bigger point, two things. One, he definitely affected play. They couldn't really get anything going because he's just already there. The other thing too, that's why, I mean, yeah, he's a high level guy. He's got great guys on radios with him, but we can't face directly at a mall like that because that happened great. I mean, he could have just kicked that guy. So watch this guy shoot through. Sorry, Ivan. Try to settle it before we start. So again, watch for, I think it's 5, blue 5. Ball's still pretty much the line. He hasn't been tapped back yet, and that guy's already shooting the gap. And I don't know that you make contact, you know, you can argue materiality, but you took an option away.
He still affected play.
Yeah, right?
We'll just watch the play go out and see how little room they have to do anything.
He had no room.
I mean, just continue, like how it affected the rest of the game.
There was hands in there.
When looking at the time in the game, it looks like that would be a great time to not play any advantage rating and just do it.
Dang, we're not doing this today. I mean, shame on Red for not closing down the gap to his coach.
Center.
Yeah, so it's early on, like Marcus pointed out, and who knows, they might have gotten something going right off that line instead of space. Alright, so this one you're going to watch right about the 15, the white player right here. It's outside the 15. Again, you can argue, I mean, he didn't make a play there. Not the most egregious in the world, but you cannot leave the 15.
He's a tackler then, of course.
He's the receiver, so he's outside the 15 early. It's another where I think referee position counts. Like, you should be able to see that guy take off.
It's right in front of him also.
You know, again, for the new people, like we were told early on, it's totally true. Like, don't do as these people do necessarily. They have a whole different level of what they're supposed to be doing and look at, and metrics and things like this. We need to call that. Again, not the worst thing in the world. It wasn't, you know, like, not like he maybe. He didn't stop them from doing what they wanted to do, but he shouldn't have been there. Makes sense. Watch the scrum half, defensive, white. Ball still in. Never got back to his offside line, right? He left.
Because he didn't like go around the other side.
Yeah, that's not one of his acceptable positions.
Does he need to follow the ball?
Well, he has two options. He can either follow that ball, or he can come back with his foot. He can't just come straight off the side like that. And it's definitely material. Yeah? Again, it should be pretty easy to catch. You should be back by then, like, and you should be like, where's he going? Like, you know.
You're seeing all these clips, and it's very like, oh, that's marginal. Oh, that's he left a little early. If you clean this up, it will open up the game immensely. Like, oh, he's kind of on the back foot, and but if you really maintain that space, if you really create that space, the game will open up. I swear to you.
This can be a flashpoint too. I mean, again, some of these aren't the most egregious in the world, but there's really good players out there that know that guy shouldn't have been there, and he messed up their little play or whatever, and that's when things get up. So if you show that, like Mark said, you catch it early, it should just knock it out of the game. Plus, it's a 9. Any chance you get to get after a 9? So all that. So again, and I'm pretty sure the backs came up early too on that one. We'll watch it again. So I'm not super happy with what the 9 did, but I'm also not happy watch up here. I mean, nothing works out, everybody use compliment. So
How close to the ball does it have to be before you're...
You want them within a meter of the scrum. Keep them within a meter of the scrum.
he should be there. He's either doing this or he's getting back there, and that's his 2 options. There's none of those gray areas. It just looks weird, right? If it looks weird, I know you would like to answer. If it looks weird, think about it for a second. Like, why is there a guy mingling right here? So this is going to get into quick taps. So watch for this guy. So that's for feeding, and he lets the guy take the quick tap right next to him. Where should that tap have been?
Last foot
In the middle or behind?
It's buried, like I guess we say nowadays.
Number 8.
Pretty much, if he wants to go quick like that, he can go take it straight back. I've actually added Mark's little thing on this to my pregame for the 9s, like just so everybody heard it, hey, if it's buried, feel free, but don't come to me, because I'm backing out. Something Mark says. I like it. Does that make sense? So this is the same thing, it should be another tap. So the guy kind of gets it right. So, depends on the game situation, depends on where you're playing. I probably would let it go. Mark felt it is, I think, doesn't like it at all. So, he tried, right? I might say something in the next one. Hey man, I meant like really behind, not halfway.
I tried to roll away. Well, you still slowed it down. I tried not to punch him.
Let's see that one again.
Or as Mr. Russell said in my first game, I have no idea what your intentions were there. It's a penalty.
Yeah. So to be clear, Mark is right. That is not one of the acceptable places to take that tap. Again, but that's an opportunity there, where you can just slow him down. Like, hey, like, no, that wasn't right. Let's bring it back. You let him take the free kick again, but just, that's a chance to slow everything down.
That said, with the team losing 3-18 in the second half on a red card, you might let them play through that. Just an aside.
Context is very important. That's high levels. That's the next presentation that I can do.
That's contextual.
And one thing, you said you're going to slow them down. It's not about slowing them down. It's about creating the space.
Correct. Yeah, I guess I'm saying that incorrectly, I guess, but that space is what gives you the ability to kind of reset everybody's minds, and everybody focused on playing rugby instead of like, oh god, that guy wasn't 10 or whatever. So this one, anybody?
I was going to say, it's a straight feed.
Well,
Finally.
in terms of the tap, anybody?
I think it's...
Let's play on. They always throw one in there just to mess with it. So this is, let's see if I can stop it. There you go. Alright, so this is, I think it's the last clip, but this is pretty much about that last foot. And what happens is, I think blue is attacking. Red's pretty, well not iffy, like they should be penalized at the beginning of this, but the guy kind of lets it go and kind of manages it, tries to back him up. I don't know if he's ever fully successful, but kind of watch just where red is on defense, it'll be coming our way.
The very first one.
Very first one's pretty ugly, coming up here. So, clearly never. But I'm kind of watching, he's trying to work now, he's trying to push him. Is this guy's hand right there? No. Whole body's going to be back. You see it a lot nowadays. That stance has to be, if they're going to put their hand down, get them behind the last foot.
It's like my game last week.
So,
Get him back.
I mean, better, but like here he's just got his hand laying there. I mean, you can't just lean on there. And this is all inside the 5 too. Remember where they are. This is where you kind of got to take it up a notch. And he knocks it. And
12-11 and 2 minutes left.
And this is.
So, I'm with you on that, but if you roll the clip again,
You betcha.
you could argue that not one of those situations was a ruck.
Oh.
And so I guess I'd inquire to the group and to you. I think I'm with you. If you call those rucks, space has to be given a little more than what they gave there. But was that team purposefully not forming a ruck so they'd be able to do what they were doing?
Let's watch again.
So
Ruck?
that's a ruck. So that's outside there.
Sides there.
That one's not.
No rock.
No, well, that guy,
Oh, that guy's got hands on the body now.
That's not a ruck.
It's not high over the wall.
that's a rock.
That's a rock.
Blue's not on his feet.
Yeah, well, that's a rock.
That's a rock.
That's a rock.
Yeah.
That's
not.
That's tackle only.
Yeah, so maybe half of them are, half of them aren't.
No, but Kurt, further to your
That's a rock.
Further to your point,
So,
not
two.
entering the ruck in order not to establish an offside line as a sevens tactic or even a 15s tactic is very different than not entering a ruck and yet still creating that barrier right there. I thought the guidance was if people don't engage, willfully do not engage for the contest, still ref it like it is a ruck, so get them back to that offside line to create the space so that you have a clean game.
Manage it like a ref.
Yeah.
Ruck, not ref it like a.
Right, so manage it like a ruck, as opposed to exactly the other side of it, where tackle only, no offside line, play on, where it's fast ball moving out. And I mean, just for the betterment of the game, the two different mindsets. Your thoughts, sir?
I don't think we can do that. I think that the players are too good to not give them the benefit of, the talent of the defense has to be respected just like the talent of the attackers here. So I think that's where, I just asked the question generically. I think these guys are offside a lot in this space, right? So clearly the first one could have been an advantage when you play through it.
The lesson on this is you catch that first one, you don't have to worry about all the other machines.
Because then the rest of them, they do such a good job of not engaging, and then I'll give them the hand in front or a step in front or whatever else it is because it's not engaged, it's not a ruck. I may not vocalize anything at that point. But I don't think we can manage something that's not a ruck as a ruck. Minus a new middle school / high school junior varsity game where you have to in order to make any kind of game happen. But I think that if you have any kind of game in front of you.
So my other side of this coin, I don't know, especially for the new people, Kurt's like a really good ref. He refs like really good players, a lot.
We don't.
No. I'd say the other side of the coin is, it's kind of the point of this is, when in doubt, make the space. Back them up. Don't worry about.
That's a good point.
That's
a valid point.
You're better off to have the space and you have a better game.
When you get to the camps, when you get to the camps that they go to, you can start thinking like that. But at our
Same camp you went to.
level-
Same stuff that you went to.
I'm one of the pieces still. Anyway, yeah, you're better off, man. Just get the space. These guys are professionals, so Blue wasn't having a hissy fit, but some of the men's clubs are gonna have I don't know, they might have an aneurysm right there on the field if you let some of that go right on the track.
So do you play advantage through that because they kind of are driving, or would you go ahead and maybe?
That's a whole different presentation, isn't it?
Well, I guess the question is, there's like 4 offside penalties.
I would have definitely pinged the first one and
Yeah.
see what happened. They're so close.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. But personally, you can't let that first one go. I don't know what these guys are told to do.
So at least throw the advantage out and then let them see.
I would have you're playing advantage. Let them see what they can do under that. And then it also puts Red on notice that that's one. I saw it. Don't do anything stupid. Professional now.
And as Blue's turn to complain to you, then they score a try, you look at them and go,
Yeah. All right. We got some kicking ones, and then we're fully done. Here we go. So this guy's going to kick. Watch for offsides. In front of the kicker.
Any guy obstructed.
Yeah. It's hard to, we'll show it one more time. It's hard to see it that quick, isn't it? Now you know what's going to happen.
Can we scream IFOC as?
No cheating.
8 IFOC! 8 IFOC!
First time I ever heard of if okay. I never.
If okay.
I swear, you could yell their entire name, middle included, and they'd still. So serious. I tapped the guy on his shoulder. He just kept going.
Ooh.
I wouldn't call it.
I wouldn't call it either personally.
Especially as he got checked on the way through.
Yeah.
You see what we're talking about? I mean, 6 is borderline, but I don't know. Mark, do you have a different opinion?
He's offside and he made the tackle.
So, I'll cover the other fun thing at the very end. I didn't want to start with it. That I learned at the camp.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard to pick this stuff out how they slow-mo it for you. So watch 20 up there, right here. Did he hold his position? Did he retreat?
He's within 10.
It's just, but fluke.
Probably within 10 still.
Within 10.
Complete
I mean,
chance.
the whole gamut. Can't do it. Get out of there.
That's another penalty you cannot prevent. 99% of them.
It's also one that you're gonna have to maybe take some time to explain, because I think anybody watching this game, anybody in the game, is confused because the player who kicked the ball was the tackler, and it was a big knock-on. And so they're going to expect
Yeah.
the expected outcome. So I think that's maybe a tough one to explain. You maybe have to take an extra beat to...
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you're already yelling at 20. Like, you can't get out of very long.
Don't wrap up that.
The referee is here yelling at 20. You know, he said 20 to away or something like that.
I've rarely seen it prevented, even at the high levels.
So if the guy catches the ball, you're gonna let that play on, right?
No, because he's
The
within
guy's still
10.
within 10 meters.
No, I'm talking about the guy who catches the kick and just advances the ball, and the guy who was offside is not even in the play.
He's in front. He's in 10.
He took away an option.
He's within 10 meters and advancing towards the kicker.
He took
You
away
play
an
advantage, Dave.
Play advantage.
No, so wait, I think this is a valid question, because I think the point of your presentation is, this is a new focus area that we should not let go. I think a lot of us, and refereeing in general, we would just say, well, that's completely inconsequential, and we play through that kind of stuff. I think what maybe the point of the presentation is, this is a new thing we should all not let go anymore, that we would have let go in the past. Is that right?
I mean, they should definitely be aware of it, is what we were taught. I mean, you need to definitely be aware of it. Again, it's a clip. I mean, context of the game matters, and there's all kinds of stuff that goes into this. And there is no.
It just seemed like the only reason why it was material because the guy coughed the ball up on a kick. If the guy catches the ball and advances it 10 yards, the guy's never in the play.
I think it's similar to someone laying on the ground though, because you've taken away an option by taking away their time when they're laying on the ground. You've taken away an option when they run up into a gap you could run into.
It's the beauty of sport. It's the beauty of what we do, right? We get to pick.
Show it again.
It just seemed like the only reason why he was even in the play is because the guy.
If you want to run left and there's some offside jerk that ran at you.
Are you ready? So I'll go one more time.
So imagine he actually catches the ball.
Just got kicked.
I don't know, but he catches the ball, he runs 10 meters without even. But he coughs it up. Actually, he catches the ball. He doesn't.
The presumption is, if he's within 10, he's caused the knockout. The presumption is, if you're within 10, you're affecting play regardless. That's the presumption.
Yeah, that's why the law is adjusted, which it's a dumb thing, right? We don't agree with that, but.
He's nowhere near the guy.
It doesn't make a difference.
I'm not arguing the law, just, whatever, it's fine.
I mean, if the guy's on one touch line and the offside guy's on the other, he's not affecting, yeah.
But he's within 10 meters of the ball.
He would have been 10 meters under the old law, too. So. I don't know.
It's a
Yeah,
line.
10-meter law has been around forever.
Yeah, but it was a circle, now it's a
That's
line.
what I'm saying.
No.
Even the old one.
I'm presuming the guy catches the ball.
Well, again, we.
Well,
I tell you what you're saying, but this
If
is
he
kind
catches
of.
the ball, sprouts wings, and scores a try, is that okay then?
No, but if he catches the ball, you're likely going to potentially play an advantage, but it's going to be over very quickly because there's nobody in front who's running down the field. But yes, but you identifying it and throwing out the arm to let your performance reviewer know that you saw it.
I got it.
Maybe White hopes the mountain actually catches the ball and we don't have this conversation. He's a professional after
He
all.
wasn't within 10 there, Jim, was he?
Alright, so here we go. Okay.
If that was what you saw, then.
Do we see Brian's out there? Do we see it? They
Right
slow-mo it for you.
These video examples.
It's fine, right? Yeah.
Play on.
I would argue you don't even need slow-mo. I mean, if it's close, don't get into like he was, a knee in front. Yeah?
They like to trick you, thinking that the guy was offside.
Any questions on, oh wait, one more.
They're back at 9.5.
Oh, I saw this one. Oh, I know this one, okay.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
that's ugly.
The lineup.
Still offside.
Yep.
Play on.
He was in front of the last player that kicked the ball.
Ball was made
So it's
dead.
a restart.
But
It's a restart.
Well, he was offside. He was
Yeah, by a show of hands, who would penalize that?
It would look so
You
bad.
gotta pick one, cheaters.
By a show of hands, who would penalize that?
subject to
Who would play on?
Yeah, it was a
It
restart.
was
I'd
out.
have to think of really
It's not a restart.
It was a quick throw-in.
no,
It's
a
not a
quick throw-in,
restart.
but he's still in front of the last player that played the ball.
It's
He played
fine,
the ball.
but he's not within 10, the ball goes dead, and then he's onside.
But he was not put onside.
But he's
He was
without,
never put onside.
but when the ball's dead, he's not within 10, the ball goes dead, and then there was no offside.
Play it in. Is he advancing before it goes dead?
Not really.
Okay, that's the question.
He stays 15 meters away from
He's
the
a
lineout.
smart guy. He's hanging out.
It's dead, no offside
Okay,
lines.
Now he
Yeah.
advances.
Yeah.
Especially with that pass.
Good luck thinking about that during the match. It's all fun and games right here.
Yeah.
There was some directive about that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're advancing.
And something about if you were running up in touch, it's one thing. If you're
But he's
running
outside the
with
10 meters,
It's 98% of the
stationary
time
until the
they're
ball goes
advancing
dead.
because they're not as smart as
ball
that
thrown
guy.
in, it's fine. It was easy, everyone would do it.
This really is true. I didn't believe it when I was young, but it's true. You get that space and your life's so much easier.
The game needs space to move the ball.
It just makes for better rugby, it really does. Best team in the house, right? Question?
I was gonna say, it's worth noting when you add into this presentation that not almost all, but a lot of the law changes in the last 10 years have been to create more space. So don't take away the game that World Rugby's been trying to create.
Kurt?
So when you say that the time and space, so time might be like tackler getting out tackle items and potentially ruck items mixed within space being some of the examples in here. But would you say that this is like a first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the game, you're trying to set some standards around these items to then clean them up throughout the match? Or are you focusing on a tackle as a first area and then moving on to the offside line and IFOC?
I mean, I personally, this stuff, especially once I fully came around to the thinking, was, I worry about space all the time. I mean,
so right from the jump.
When it closes down is when everything starts going sideways and people are on the ground and so, I don't know, it really just, Mark was right, I'll say it, I said it out loud, I said it on the
Pain you to say that.
Pack them up.
Kittens are dying.
Life's much better. I got one other thought real quick about the camp. They let off with an interesting statistic that doesn't fit in. I don't think Steve will cover next year either. I don't know the exact story how it went, but basically they had 6 performance reviewers watch a high-level referee in the same game, and they came back and kind of talked about it, and they only agreed on about 70% of the stuff. So this is 6 experts watching a really good referee, and they couldn't agree on all the 70% of it. So as you're coming out, especially younger people, you're going to get conflicting advice on the same day. I mean, it happens. Everybody's got a little bit different theory. People see things differently. They can watch the same ruck, and you heard it right here. I mean, you got a couple of panel guys that sort of disagree on them, so.
But you gotta take everything and then you figure out what works for you.
Yeah,
Don't just like, oh, the guy told me this last time. Just really stop and think about it and get into the law book and then go back and ask the question because, like you said, you're gonna get 20 different ways of managing it.
So,
and all of them are good.
Where I would encourage you there, if you have a mentor as a referee, work with a mentor to distill the week from the chat.
That'd be nice.
And that's what his...
I'm just kidding.
By next meeting, Dan will have that sorted.
Sure. So yeah, a great referee told me when I was young and very frustrated at a tournament that there's no one way to referee. It's a great man named Derek Summers.
Great man.
No, that's kind of what I get to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's awesome having Jim out there and Mike out there, and you really have to get that kind of feedback, because you don't know. You know, you watch tape sometimes, you're like, oh, you know, like, really, that was really bad. But just grain of salt, you know, just take it all in, talk to different people, you know. Not everybody's going to tell you the right thing all the time, so 70%, just you got to pick the right stuff. Yeah? It's like it.
Couple questions for you real quick. You had a couple observations about the camp when we were talking the other day, about being prepared for the camp.
Yes.
So tell me, you want to share that with the group? I thought that was
What are you talking about? The be drunk?
No, you made a couple comments about how you felt you were prepared compared
So,
to other people that were.
I would say, if you get a chance to go to these camps, you've been to one, right? At least. No.
You can go to Atlanta?
No. You will. So when you go soon, I would say I was a little surprised on a few of the people's lack of preparedness. I mean, it is a room full of, you know, up and coming engineers. So there is a law test, and I'm no Steve Gore. I'm no Derek Summers. I'm not a law junkie like that, but I mean, I have leafed through the thing, you know, I have a general idea what's in there. Some of the scores on the law test were a little shocking for a room full of performance referees or something. There's a fitness test. Again, you can not like the beep test, but that is what we're measured against, and I mean, that's one of the things. So if you go in there and you're not ready for the beep test, I don't understand that either.
And how did you and Steve do on the written test?
Steve took it. He did the best. He's good at the law.
How about you?
I got second. I strongly disagree with some of the questions.
I didn't write it.
What's that?
How'd you guys do on the beat?
We both got 12-1, 12-2.
So he's being a little modest. When we were talking on the pitch the other day, he said that he felt like the society had prepared him well for the camp.
We handled our business. I felt like
You represented Rocky Mountain well.
I was a little surprised at the lack of preparedness for some of them.
Actually, one of them was on the national panel, didn't get the beat test score.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thanks, Steve. Mark, we just had the concussion, your note that you sent out. We just want to remind everyone what our obligations are in regards to suspected concussions.
Yes, there's a lot of myths around this, and we just want to be clear. The brain bin does not exist. There's no leaving the field for any number of times for a player to get evaluated with a sub coming on to replace that player. If the player wants to leave the field and or be evaluated without replacing that player, that's fine. So if they just want to go to 14 while they check the player, that's okay. That's just their dumb mistake, and they can do what they want to do. But the other part of that, so I've heard this now from several teams where, well, last week the referee let us do brain bin, which brain bin is to do, which is shorthand for the
head injury.
Head injury assessment, which is the old pitch side brain assessment. But anyway, it's all not allowed in the U.S. for any levels of matches outside our Eagles. So our Eagles do it at international matches. No other level can do it. So any age, any level, any gender, if a person shows symptoms of concussion, they leave the field not to return that day. The second part of that then is your responsibility as a referee, that you get to override a coach, a player, a trainer, and a parent, now that we're doing lots of high school. No matter what they say to you, if you're uncomfortable with that player finishing that match, no matter what the injury would be, head or otherwise, you have the last voice in that process. So we are the last line of defense.
First aid person, when you say trainer, first aid person and doctor.
Correct.
If you want to.
If a doctor says they can stay and you don't feel comfortable, that player leaves, no matter what. We are the last voice, just like everything else. What is it?
6A4A.
A4A, there we go.
Law in fact.
That law thing. So we have to take these responsibilities a little bit more serious. I have seen players that are knocked out that have continued in a game. If a player's knocked out cold, we have to make sure they do not continue that game, no matter what anybody says. So I think that's where we have to take a little bit more responsibility as a referee, just to say, this doesn't look right, let's make sure it doesn't happen. So those two things connected, brain bin, not being allowed, equal to then the rest of injury. If a player shouldn't continue, they shouldn't continue. And I think we collectively as a group would rather hear complaints of a team that you made our best player get subbed out because of suspected injury than to have a secondary concussion incident on a field. So whatever you have to do in that incident. And then I think if you do have to make a player leave, likely add that in your report. I don't know if there's that extra window, just anything else happened. Probably put it in there just in case if they do come back for it.
And having been through a second concussion syndrome, you don't want to go through that. You know.
Yeah, this is the result. I mean, come on.
No, I mean, basically die on the field. Second concussion. And we didn't even know he had a concussion. You don't want to go through that. If you have any idea that somebody's concussed, you're better off to say, you know, tomorrow's another day. Just go sit, coach. You may think you can override me. I'm not going to let you because I don't want that responsibility on my watch. You really don't.
It also probably a good reminder, the regulations and all the clothing and equipment that are allowed and not allowed is in that document that Derek did. It's on the USA Referees Resources page website. Go there and just refresh yourself because there's a lot of things in there. We're seeing more things every day. If you get something that's not in there, take a picture of it and send it in to Mark. Mark is the last word on all this stuff, so he will be able to evaluate it for you. But nearly everything we've seen is in that booklet somewhere. So refresh yourself on what's allowed and not allowed. And then just the excuse I got to wear it last weekend, of course, is not, please don't take those excuses.
Has anybody seen the palmless fingers the Japanese were wearing?
Yeah, the wrap.
Well, the laws say you can have mitts, which are fingerless gloves.
I think it's tape.
But now, was it tape?
It's like surgical tape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tape.
I thought he had like,
No, it's just tape.
Weird, yeah.
It's very definitely tape.
It's wrong.
I've never seen all the fingers taped, but yeah, he had them all done.
It's like that surgical gauze.
He has 3 and 3. He has not these ones. He has these ones. It's got arthritis, Jim. Leave him alone. I'm eating sushi.
Aaron Gilligan's gonna lead the discussion a little bit.
For the officiating there. So who has,
There's a
who's
fishing
been
there?
watching the World Cup? What have we thought about the officiating? Always nice to put this up on, you should like turn that off so people don't feel bad about talking about it.
Right.
What are common things you're seeing in the refereeing that's there?
Too much TMO.
Some people would say a decent amount for the foul play stuff. What about in the end goal?
I think the first couple of games it was a lot.
Every try. I think I've seen 3 tries that didn't have a TMO. So what, for you, does that say, watching those games, thinking these are the best, de facto best people at the business, because it's a Rugby World Cup, what does that tell you about their positioning, and should you be emulating it?
I think they're looking for another appointment. Make a mistake.
Well, but that's part of it. And as soon as you have 2 world-class ARs and 8 cameras, I would say absolutely run those same lines and have that same positioning. But with the rest of it, I mean, half the time they're in the field, the AR's pulled up short to get a nice clean line on the grounding or on the touch. Hell, I'd have to send in half of those up there too, because they aren't sure whether they grounded it before he stepped into touch. So just beware when you're watching that. Take a look at that. What are some of the positive things that you've seen? What are things that you've pulled out of those games?
I love that they're all on the same page about the head and neck stuff. So you're seeing a lot of penalties, especially rucking with head and neck, and then, I mean, the tackles are always kind of there, but I like that they're, and they all seem to be doing it, not just 1 or 2 of the referees.
What's the role? What's the law about head and neck?
no.
No. Rick? What is it? When is it legal? When is it illegal?
It's never legal.
Okay. So around the head, around the neck, with the twist, with the pull. What if they get under an arm and that's coming across?
That's what the rule looks like. Gray area. High school, no good.
High school's no good. What about for men's club? Somebody gets right underneath there sweeps him right across, clean barrel roll, guy rolls right out, pops to his feet, comes back, hits the ruck, hits the next ruck. Is it legal? It's illegal.
Did he grab it?
You know, this is what I see a lot, because a lot of players are coming off playing football, so they're not tackling low. But they're doing a lot of scrag tackling, where they grab on the shirts, and then they're going like this, and everybody's calling high tackle. I don't know if it's really, I mean, when you're bringing the guy down with just his shirt, you're not really putting.
Are you whipping him head first into the ground?
Yeah, but think about how they go down.
Well, I mean, they kind of do like 2 or 3 pirouettes, and then, you know, fall all over each other, but.
If it's a dangerous tackle, it's a dangerous tackle. That's the same kind of thing where if you're looking underneath the armpit, they get through and the force is coming through something other than their head or their neck. You didn't talk about it, I'd manage it. If it's dangerous, penalize it. What about the players coming in to clear out at the ruck?
Like Hooper.
Like
got cited.
Hooper?
You've got to find.
How many times have we seen somebody leading into a ruck like that? Somebody's sitting like this, cleared out, you're gonna try and clear out, they're like that, and that shoulder comes in right here, right there. What are they doing? They're hitting somebody in the head. They're not trying to wrap, they're not trying to clear out, they're trying, well, they are trying to clear out, but they're trying to injure the player. You don't have to worry about intent. Oh, sir, I didn't mean to do that. Well, you hit him in the head and he's laying on the ground. It's a yellow card at minimum. You can go for a red card.
At the Sacramento camp, Alan Roland gave us a good clue as to like people dangerously charging into players. And it's like a good way to, because you know you always hit them with the shoulder first, but then they attempt to wrap. And it's just like, have a look at his position of the arms when he makes contact. If his arms are back, it's a penalty, but if his arms are here, then it's a play on. So it's like, I mean, the Malifa brothers do it very well, where they're timing it, but they're literally hitting with the shoulder, and their arms are back, and then they're coming up. Like, well, I attempted to wrap. So like, this is a good hit, but this is not a good hit. So just think about like where his arms are when he's making contact.
Tony. Other thoughts, other questions coming out of the World Cup games?
Jim.
I have an issue with the amount of time and space that teams are being given.
Why is that, Rick?
I feel like the referees are not cracking down like they maybe do in pre-World Cup test matches, or what we see on a normal weekend. I say this partially as a fan, because I feel like we have been picked on a little bit as a country, but I'd say that they're not getting tacklers clear very quickly and or then making the offside line be fully respected at the key times. I think open play, the players are smart enough to do it, but
I think they've been a bit inconsistent in that.
yeah.
I think
I've seen some refs who absolutely ping, 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 and some just let it go.
Yeah, you should barely did that one game with 36 penalties.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that you can start taking a look at is what the games that are closer to what you would think the law is end up having a higher penalty count than the ones where it looks like it's flowing rugby, but end up probably being lower scoring because nobody can get a ball out, because every critical moment there's somebody laying on that ball, slowing it, letting the defense get there. I mean, one of the other things that, you know, was a different presentation than the one Rick gave, is the consequence of creating too much time for the defense. That's one of the reasons why people will sit there. They're buying time for their team to get back around, to get lined up. And that's a very different thing than what Kurt identified earlier, where Red was just conceding rough. They were saying, we're going to reset our defense. But I know my last game Saturday, somebody was holding on, and this is a guy who had been away like lightning every time. And all of a sudden, he realizes tackle, holding, and then he gets out of there. Oh, sir, I rolled away. I was like, yeah, you rolled away as soon as your defense got there. Think about that as one of the reasons why people were doing it. And even while you're watching the game, sometimes you'll see the ref not penalize it, and then all of a sudden it looks like the exact same thing, but he does penalize it if you only look at the breakdown. Look at the defensive alignment, or look at what the consequence to the rest of the space has become.
Yeah, that's that positive, negative, neutral presentation.
Yeah.
So,
That
as they're
Eric
going
will
into
be presenting on in December.
Yeah,
But as people are going into contact, think about if they're in a positive, negative, or neutral situation, and begin to think about what they're going to do. If you have the ball and you have no support, they're going to 5 guys, they're probably going to take their sweet time getting the ball out. Same thing with the defender. If he's waiting for the defense to arrive, he's going to take his sweet time rolling away. That's a positive tackle situation with the guy with the ball.
Other questions? There's no way Eric Fry is double as penalizable as every other prop on the field. Just my editorial comment.
Because I know Eric, consider him a friend, it's because he's a ginger.
Besides lacking a soul, he's clearly lacking like a rapport with the referee.
Well, and he habitually lets the other props rebind on him.
Yes.
Which is
just still, he's too nice of a guy.
It's
He
just,
should just
shut
punch
them
the
off
guy.
when they try to, no, like, don't let that happen. Like, make it very obvious to the ref that someone's trying to rebind on you and you're about to be in a really negative situation.
No, it's unbelievable.
Because
He's
when
a
we played
great
at
team.
Payne Wiles, he pointed that out to the ref.
Other stuff? Cool.
Okay, a couple reminders, the annual meeting is in December, and we probably will be in the courthouse.
We will be in the court, yeah, that's the other thing. This is cozy, but seeing as half the societies in England right now, we probably will flood this room. The courtroom, for those of you who have never been arrested by Glendale's clients, is in the building right over there. Where am I turned around?
This is in the single-story building.
Yes.
It's a 2-story.
Walk in.
Yeah, so it is 2 stories, but yeah, just right in there, so when you park, instead of walking this way to come into the case, just go straight forward.
1 story on that one.
And it's on the right-hand side. It says courtroom.
So we'll be in there next month and December.
And December.
Okay.
And we may be in there in January, depending upon when they can empty out the other room.
You don't have a meeting in January.
What's going on in
The date on the end.
Storage.
It's the first Monday of, all our meetings first Monday of the month.
I think it's.
Oh,
That are on holiday.
Except for when there's a
Except for
holiday.
We don't do January, we don't do July.
Yeah.
December 7th.
We don't do January, we don't do July, and we didn't do August, or
So,
September because of.
December is the annual meeting, we encourage everyone to attend, we do election of officers.
They collect checks.
And review
Yeah,
budgets and
Yeah, fact check.
do a financial report. If anyone is interested in participating in a leadership level for the society, we would encourage you to step forward.
First Monday.
Communicate to folks.
I don't know, so we've
ask
gotten,
questions, see what you may be interested in doing. So,
we've definitely had a good amount of volunteerism in the society, which is great. For my first 13 years, it was always the same 3 guys. But now we have new people sticking their hand up, and that's another reason why the society is great. So don't just let everyone do everything for you. Be the change you want in the society.
And in January is our winter social. So if anyone's interested in hosting or has any ideas what we want to do for the winter social, it is literally a social event since we don't have a meeting in January.
Bong's house.
Go back in time.
Karen Bong.
Fun guy? That was a good one last time.
So keep that in mind, we'll talk about that more in the next couple of months, but we do want to get that on the schedule and get that done, so. Okay, so anybody have anything else?
Yes, I got one that I was mentioning to Regan earlier. For the new coaches particularly, the question is, are the coaches a part of the officiating team?
And the answer is, if you are trying to call something in from the sideline, no. You cannot call in foul play as the referee coach.
Unless you're assigned as an AR at the same time.
That'd be a fun chance,
Because we
yeah.
had the situation where one of the referees here with no ARs, and it was for whatever reason the referee didn't see the headbutt, a very, very clear headbutt that everybody else saw.
Sure, that showed up in the coaching report.
And so what was the advice that was given to the referee in this particular case, because of the protocol, if we sent him off with a red card, then it could be complaints because the coach is not part of the officiating team. So in this particular case, the yellow card was given. However, am I right in understanding now that the coaches can cite?
Anyone can cite.
Anybody can refer a citation request up to the disciplinary committee. What they do with it then is a union matter, because the union appoints the disciplinary chair. So you just write it up, say at this time, this is what happened, send it in to get, technically getting video is on the disciplinary committee, it's not on you as the coach, it's not on you as the referee. That's on the DC to handle. So write it up, be as clear as possible, be as factual as possible, and be as non-emotional, be as objective as possible. Just like if you're writing up a red card report in a match, number 4 from Colorado Springs kicked the Northern Colorado player on the ground. He was not in a rucking motion, he was not in a stamping motion, he was kicking a defenseless player on the ground.
And he missed the field.
Pure and simple. Doesn't have to be anything more than that, just make it very clear what happened.
And the forms for that are on the website.
You can use
disciplinary form.
You can use the disciplinary form for that, just say that there was no card, say it's a citation or referral. Any questions about that? It's always fun.
Anything else, anyone?
Vinny?
Thank you, everyone. Typically, we have a little bit of a social gathering. So any suggestions on, there's always the debate on where to go.